What's your favorite movie of all time? If you're anything like me, then this question can be a pretty daunting one to answer, partially because there's just so many great films out there, so picking only one is a difficult proposition. But also, sometimes movies can be polarizing and really hit for one person and be seen as utter trash by someone else. For example, The Sixth Sense is one of my favorite movies of all time, but because M. Night Shyamalan has gone on to have a super polarizing career, people kind of look at you a little funny when you say one of his films is your favorite. But today I want to celebrate some of the movies that I think have no haters. Now, these are not necessarily just the movies that I think are objectively the greatest of all time, though some of them are definitely up there. These are just movies where I've never seen someone outright be like, "Oh my god, that was so trash," or "that sucked." And if you do hate on any of these films, well, you need to look in the mirror and make the active decision to stop choosing violence, my friend. It's okay to be happy. Kicking things off, The Shawshank Redemption is a movie that I generally think nobody dislikes. Like, I understand if it's not your favorite movie, but if you've seen Shawshank, how could you not at least like it? You have great performances from Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman, good camera work, a phenomenal script. On every level, this film is good. I remember I was showing one of my friends this film during my college days, and someone else popped into my room just to say hi pretty early into the movie, and they ended up staying the entire time, a whole 2.5 hours, because the film simply entranced them into its story. They just had to see it through, and I think that is a perfect microcosm for the power of The Shawshank Redemption. It's simply a great, emotionally gripping tale. Moving into the world of animation, I think you would genuinely have to be a miserable person to dislike Shrek 2. Shrek 2, in my opinion, has the greatest movie soundtrack of all time. I mean, just hit after hit plays throughout the film. And it also has a great story at its core that reinforces that looks are not everything. Because despite being an ogre, Shrek has a heart of gold in comparison to Prince Charming. But even if you don't want to read into the film on a deep philosophical level, it's just a fun watch in general, with genuinely funny jokes that actually land, and animation that holds up pretty well. I loved this movie as a kid, and even as an adult, I still think it's fucking awesome. And if you don't, well then, perhaps you're just living La Vida Loca. Raiders of the Lost Ark is in many ways the quintessential adventure film. It has absolutely iconic set pieces that have been parodied time and time again. We have absolutely stellar directing from Spielberg here, and Harrison Ford just charismatically owns the role of Indiana Jones. Now, in full transparency, I do slightly prefer The Last Crusade over Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I think most people would pick Raiders as their favorite Indiana Jones film, and I completely understand why. It is a thrill ride from start to finish, and kind of similarly to Shrek 2, you can read into the film and get deep meaning out of it if you would like, or you could just sit back, turn your brain off, and enjoy it as an action-adventure film. And I think movies that can do both of these things are kind of the prototypical films with no haters. Because if you can enjoy something on multiple different levels, well, it becomes quite difficult to dislike that piece of media. And Raiders of the Lost Ark definitely falls into that category in my opinion. The next movie that I believe has absolutely no haters is The Princess Bride. And if we're being honest, this movie simply has got everything. Fencing, fighting, torture, revenge, giants, monsters, chases, escapes, true love, miracles. Is this a kissing movie even? Kinda. But in all sincerity, this is a great example of a movie that covers pretty much every possible base. I don't think it is a film that would frequently be someone's favorite movie of all time, but I do think at bare minimum, the vast majority of people would find something to enjoy here. Also, this movie has multiple lines and moments that have become iconic, and nostalgia is a hell of a drug. Simply put, the story is simple enough for all ages to enjoy, the comedy style is clever without being crass, the acting is quality without being too serious, and each scene has something memorable going on. If you hate on The Princess Bride, honestly, I think you need to lighten up and take yourself less seriously, because this is just a fun, enjoyable movie that should have no haters. Diving back into the world of animation, I'm gonna give my favorite animated film of all time a shout, and The Incredibles should absolutely have no haters. A few years ago, I was doing a rewatch of every Pixar movie during the pandemic, because I was bored and, well, I'm also a nerd. And The Incredibles was so good that after I finished it, I just went right ahead and hit replay on it. I love this movie, and it really has everything a good superhero movie needs. It has an iconic villain who truly challenges our lead protagonist's mindset in a thematically interesting way. We have more than serviceable animation and entertaining fight sequences, and our lead family of superheroes all have their unique strengths and flaws as characters. As a kid, I was obsessed with this movie, and as an adult, I still fucking love revisiting it. It's my favorite Pixar film, favorite animated film, second favorite superhero movie, and in my top 10 films of all time. Now, I understand if you don't rate the film quite as highly as I do. Taste in media is subjective after all, but if you hate on The Incredibles, then you, my friend, are simply wrong. Well, if you made it this far, please let me know what movies you think have no haters. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please feel free to drop a like and subscribe for more Screen Stories content. I'll also have a playlist with all of my similar list-style videos linked in the description. Until next time, peace.